Hello everyone. As a part of this video, I am going to tell you what is the difference between static testing and dynamic testing. So in my previous videos, I have already discussed in details about static testing and dynamic testing. Now today we are going to discuss about what are the difference between them. Okay. So if you guys have not seen my static testing and dynamic testing video, so my request is that please check on that video, then come to this video, then you can easily understand that what are the difference between both these two. Okay. Or otherwise I will give that static testing and dynamic testing video link in this video description, so you can please check out from here also. Now coming to our topic, that is static testing versus dynamic testing. Now see, suppose when any requirement came, then first what they will do? First they will do the requirement collection, then they will do the feasibility study, then they will do the design, then coding. Once after coding is done, the developer will do the white box testing, and once after white box testing is done, finally the software will be given to the tester. Now what tester will do? Now tester will start their testing by executing their component test cases, their integration test cases, their system test cases. Now always remember, when the developer will given the build to the tester, after giving the build, what test engineer will do, or what testing the test engineer will do, that is called dynamic testing. Okay. Now before doing the white box testing done by the developer, before what activities they will do? Okay, before doing the white box testing done by the developer, what activities they will do before, that will comes under static testing. Now clear? Now I am repeat once again. When any requirement came, what will happen? First they will do the requirement collection, then they will do the feasibility study, then they will do the design part, then coding, and once after the coding is done, developer will do the white box testing. Once after white box testing is done, finally the software will be given to the test engineer. Okay. Now whenever the developer is giving that software to the test engineer, that means developer will do the white box testing. So before doing the white box testing, what testing is done by the developer? Before what activities they will do? I mean, before doing the white box testing done by the developer, what activities they will do, that will comes under static testing. And whenever whenever the build is given to the test engineer, now tester or test engineer, what will do? They will start their testing by executing their component test cases, integration test cases, system test cases. Now always remember, when the developer will given the build to the tester, after giving the build, what test engineer will do, or what testing the test engineer will do, that is called dynamic testing. Clear? That is the first point. Now second point, static testing will be done as a part of your verification activity. So we can say that is the definition of both. Okay, I'm just increasing the size. Let's say, okay, this is the definition. Now second point is that we can say static testing is a verification activity. Static testing is a verification activity, and on the other hand we can say dynamic testing, what is? This is validation activity. Validation activity. Now, what is verification? What is validation? I have already discussed with my static testing and dynamic testing video, and also in my next videos I will give you in brief description, in detailed descriptions about verifications and validation. Okay, so static testing comes under verification activity and dynamic testing comes under validation activity. Now point number 3. So point number 3. Now in static testing, what actually they will do? As I have already told you, it's come under verification activities. So in static testing, we will first review the code. Okay, we will review the requirement. We will review the customer requirement specifications. We will review the software requirement specification, high level design, low level design. We will do the code walkthrough process. So these parts will comes under static testing, because I have already told you that before doing the, whenever the developer is doing the white box testing, okay, before what activities they will do, that is static testing. So what activities they will do? They will do the requirement, review the requirement, will review the customer requirement specification, they will review the software requirement specification, high level design, low level design, code walkthrough, etc, etc, etc. So these parts are comes under static testing. Now on the other hand, in dynamic testing, developer has given you the build and you have deployed the build. Okay, so now what we will do? We will start with component testing, integration testing, system testing, acceptance testing, all of your functional testing, all of your non-functional testing. That will be the part of your dynamic testing. That means we have to validate the application, we have to validate the product. So that's why dynamic testing is a validation activity. Okay, now that is number 3. Now number 3, you are clear what is the difference between this static testing and dynamic testing? Now what we will do, we will do. Okay, now number 4, we do static testing to prevent the defect. So static testing, what we will do? We do static testing to prevent the defect. Means we have to verify the product, we have to verify the application. So that's why in static testing we do static testing to prevent the defect. Okay, now on the other hand, what we will do in dynamic testing? Dynamic testing, okay, so we do dynamic testing to find the defect and to fix it. To find the defect and to fix it. That is the main aim of dynamic testing. So what is the main aim of static testing? We do static testing to prevent the defect. We have to prevent the defect. We have to verify the application. And in dynamic testing, as it's the validation activity, we have to validate the application. So that's why we have to find the defect and to fix it. Okay. Now number 5. So number 5, what we can say? We will do static testing before the software is deployed. So when we will do static testing? When we will do static testing? Before the software is deployed. Okay, before the software is deployed. And on the other hand, when we will do dynamic testing? So we will do dynamic testing once after the code is deployed. After code is deployed. Okay, now number 6. Now number 6. So in static testing, is always a less costly. So static testing is always static testing less costly. Less costly. On the other hand, dynamic testing dynamic testing is more costly. More costly. Clear? Now number 7. So static testing is performed at the early stage of development. So when we will perform static testing? At the early stage of development. Early stage of development. Now, what do you mean by early stage of development? Means, suppose, let's say, what are the stage? Like, early stage of development means SDL. We all know the SDLC life cycle model. So, in SDLC life cycle model, first we have to do the, what we have to do? We have to do the requirement collection. Then we have to do the feasibility study. Then we have to do the design. Then we have to do the coding. And then we have to do the testing. So that is the SDLC process. Generally SDLC process. Okay. So in static testing is performed at the early stage of development. So at the early stage of development, we have to perform the static testing. On the other hand, dynamic testing is performed at the later stage of development. At the later stage of development means we have to perform the dynamic testing here. In that position, we have to perform the dynamic testing. Okay. So we can say dynamic testing when we will perform later stage of development. Okay, later stage of development. Now number 8. So number 8, what we can say? In static testing, whole code will not executed. In static testing, whole code will not executed. On the other hand, the dynamic testing, the whole code will deployed in the software. So we can say static testing, whole code will not executed. On the other hand, dynamic testing, whole code will deployed in the software or application. Okay. Now number 9. So number 9. Now, so what is the purpose of static testing? So the purpose or the reason of static testing is to prevent the defect. Now question arises, why? Because in static testing, we are indirectly reviewing your requirements, reviewing your customer requirement specification, your software requirement specification. We are walk through your requirement. We are reviewing your code. So we are testing all the logic. Basically, we are testing all the logic written by the developer. Right? And on the other hand, in dynamic testing, we will test the application. Means, what is the purpose of dynamic testing? To find out the defect, raise the defect to the developer, and we have to fix that defect. That is the purpose of dynamic testing. Now, so first, I have already discussed you that we have to do the dynamic testing at the early stage of development. Means requirement collection we have to do, feasibility study we have to do, design, coding we have to do. So in that part, that is the static testing. So in testing page, what we will do? We will do the component testing, we will do the system testing, we will do the integration testing, we will do the acceptance testing, we will do the performance testing. Okay, so etc. So many type of testing we will perform in that testing phase. So here we have to perform the dynamic testing. Dynamic testing. So here we will perform the dynamic testing. Component testing, system testing, integration testing, acceptance testing. That is the dynamic testing. So now you are very much clear about what are the difference between static testing and dynamic testing. So if you guys have any doubt, please comment me. If you guys like my video, please thumbs up and subscribe to my channel EduPaat and clicking on the bell icon. So guys, you will get the notifications first on my video. Okay. So see you in the next videos with some another topics of software testing. Thank you.